Man, what it do? Welcome to the first episode of AD is Elevated. My name is AD. We are elevated, and you see already on the screen OT DEEZY. How we doing, brother?
What's poppin'? We doing good over here. We live from Lorraine right now.
Come on, I like it. You are in motion. You in the car. You coming from another podcast interview, so you are on the media motion train.
Yep. We just came from Cypher Podcast. Big shout out to them.
I like it.
Me and Big Hef, we on the streets most wanted tour right now. So
Shout out to Hef, man. That's my guy. That's an industry. That's a legend in general, man. Love Hef. Love Hef.
yep.
So as someone who's still new and learning about OTDZ, I'm going to ask you something. These might seem surface level questions, but bear with me. And
No, you good. Go ahead.
we're gonna dive a little bit deeper. What does OTDZ stand for? What's the OT for? Where's DZ come from? Like, yeah, come on, help me out here. I'm an old head, man. I'm old, man.
No, you good, man. DZ. So the first part of the back end half of my name, DZ came from football, high school football. Kids, we always give each other different names and nicknames and whatnot. So that's kind of where the DZ came from.
For sure.
OT kind of developed into my name later on. So in my early stages of my career, it was actually DZ216. I'm not sure if you remember when, the area code rapper names was a real trend at one
No.
point. Um, so then as I started to develop my sound, I felt like maybe this might keep me more on a local standpoint. Let's change, rebrand the name, and let's make it more of a viral type of name, a household name that you can actually hear. It's catchy. OT came from, how I operate in the studio. Always over prepared, always over rehearsed. And I'd always go and show up to the studio and I'd deliver all my verses in one take. So that's kind of where the OT comes from. One take and out of town. I like to travel a lot. I'd be on the move and shit, whatnot. So that's where the OT stands from.
No, I like it. So tell me more about your studio process when you go in there to make a song, record songs. Do you go in there for a certain amount of time? Do you go in there with 10 songs prepared? Do you create once you get there? What is the studio process like for OTBZ?
For sure. So my studio process actually kind of shifted recently. Early on, when I was paying for studio time and having to put the money behind the studio time, I would always like I said, over prepare. So I would try to get a good 3 to 4, maybe 5 songs really rehearsed, really burnt into my memory, so I can go in there and my goal was always to try to get 2 songs done an hour. So
Oh
I
wow,
was really trying to put in work.
right?
So I would go there, make sure like I could damn near go there without a phone, and I could lay my verses down. That's how burned into my brain they are.
Wow.
Now that I have my own studio, I have more time to be able to actually sit in the studio environment to create the music, to write it, to have people in there, some of my people in my camp and be spitballing ideas. And, I'm not on a time crunch of, oh, it's 50 an hour, 75 an hour. I'm
Yep.
on paid time, so it's shifted a little bit now. But I was either way, even when I'm in the studio creating, when I go to the studio, it's really about business. I'm not trying to go fuck around, waste time, spend a lot of time on the partying aspect. That could all get done after. Let's get in there, let's get the work done, let's get the music recorded, and then, we can have that turn up. We can, have our little party time and things of that nature.
I like it. No, for sure. You said something that stuck with me. You said I used to rehearse them until the lyrics were burned in my brain. And I think I do spoken word and speaking engagements. And one thing that I've come to realize is that for me that memory retention it doesn't just help with the creative side. It helps with other things too. So I was actually very happy to hear you say that. I think people sometimes are scared to give it a to memorize something. But the more you have it down,
For sure. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but I just kind of did want to touch on that thought a little bit because you're right. It does help in the all around delivery. If you know your if you know your lyrics, you know how you want it to be delivered. You can go in there and actually put the right aggression or right emotion or the right amount of sadness, that vibe to it. If
yep.
you're not really prepared and you're on a time crunch, I see a lot of artists where they'll just go in there and kind of the first time they punch it down, they leave it. I'm very big on perfection. So like I like to, do multiple takes. If I let whole first down one take, but I like to build that aggression to it. I like to really when you hear my vocals, you can almost feel the pain or feel the anger or feel the emotions into it. And I feel like sometimes a lot of artists forget about that in the process.
No, for sure. I love the way you put it. Let me ask you this: what is your ethnic racial background?
I'm Italian and Croatian.
Okay, so you're Caucasian, correct?
Caucasian, yeah.
Or white, however you want to put it. Okay, copy. Because I'm gonna take it back to the down bad.
Yeah, I don't. Did you not?
You said,
Sorry, I think it's. I don't know if my service might be a little bit better if it's lagging. Yeah, no, I said it is still Caucasian, but I'm Italian and Croatian is my ethnic background.
okay, got you. No, yeah, I got you for sure. No, no, it was a little choppy there. No, thank you for clarifying. So I'm taking to the down bad, which is years ago. And then to
That's a good
nowadays.
throwback right there.
You said what happened?
I said that's a good throwback right there.
No, for sure. Let me ask you this: as a white male, and you like to keep a fresh cut. Where did you begin to you can't you can't just go to Great Clips or Sport Clips and get certain cuts like the one in the Down Bad video. You got some designs in there. You could tell it's clean. How did you go about finding a barber? When did you become aware of crisp, clean cuts?
To be honest, I grew up in that type of mix. You know,
Okay.
my pops was always in the streets and that type of mix. So I kind of always grew up in that culture and environment. You know, shout out my boy Robbie Cuts. You know, he one of the best barbers in the city. Puerto Rican dude. You know, I always fucked with the Puerto Ricans. You know, they could cut the best hair. I swear to God, mark my words. I always say a Puerto Rican gonna give you the best fucking haircut you ever have.
Okay, I like it. No, for sure, for sure. We're gonna keep it here for a minute because I saw that you recently did the watermelon fast. Um, what's the what? Help me out. What's the what? Is this where you just eat straight watermelon? What's the watermelon fast?
So it's pretty much like you just said. You just eat straight water or drink straight water, or you're only eating watermelon. Um, to be honest, it's very similar to doing just a regular water fast. You know,
Okay,
with just strictly water. Except you get a little of the natural sugars. You know, it's a little bit easier than I'd say just a water fast.
okay.
I'm big into health and mental health, physical health, taking care of my body and whatnot. So I kind of just been, going through a phase in the gym where I wanted to go through some cuts. I wanted to do some detoxing. It's really good for resetting of the systems, eliminating the toxins, kind of resetting your palate and whatnot. And then not to mention, a little bit of a faster way to drop some weight and, get back into the gym and get back on my bulk.
I like it. No, for sure. I saw the what was the video I saw? I think it was the Auntie House video. I'm like, okay, but buddy hitting the push-ups for sure, for sure. So yeah, shout.
No, for sure. Yeah, no, I stay up in the gym. I think, one thing that a lot of people I feel like forget about is health is wealth, man. If you're not taking care of your mind and your body, what are you really doing?
No, no, for sure. Agreed, agreed, agreed. With that said, I'm gonna ask you. I'm gonna ask you about some lyrics here. I
Okay,
forget
go
what
ahead.
song. I forget what so. So bear with me. I'm gonna put you to it. I forget what the song is, but you do talk about codeine. Is codeine still a part of your diet?
You said codeine?
Yes, I don't know what song it is that I just heard, but codeine was mentioned. Is codeine still a part of your diet, or is that something that was just a part of your diet at the time?
Trying to get me to snitch on myself.
No,
No,
you said it in the song.
no, I'm talking shit. No, I mean it definitely been a part of some things that I've dabbled in the past. I'll a rare occasion, I'll pour up in I'll pour up in the stew, but it's not like I wouldn't say it's a necessity. It's not one of those, oh, I gotta have my cup, I gotta have my cup type of things. I just, same when I like to get in the studio, smoke a little bit, drink a little bit, it's just there, it's there.
I got you. No, for sure. Well,
I'm not
look.
going out of my way though. I'm not like on some going out of my way extra shit for it, if that makes sense.
No, for sure. For sure. I just like to check the temperature. Not that I'm anybody's, homie for, but like, some things just are bad and yeah, I think
No, I know, trust me. And I've definitely actually seen some of the aftermath of where it could lead and whatnot. Yeah, no, I try to a lot of stuff I'm still talking through experience. If
no,
that
for
makes
sure.
sense. What I mean, so
Yeah. No, no, definitely, definitely. I mean, look, music, if people are approaching, their creativity in the right way, it should be a therapeutic vice, right? So it's a place to let out whether it's, analogy, current story, past story, or what I want my future to look like, right? So no, I think that's the place to do it.
For sure. I feel like a lot of people sometimes too think like, when an artist drops a song that they just recorded that yesterday. Like that's current. Sometimes you're right. Like you know, there's songs that I've dropped. Like even Who Wants Smoke, I had recorded that song, 7 or 8 months before I dropped it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's the stories aren't always just in that exact moment in time, if that makes sense.
No, 100%. I'm so glad you put that out there because I think a lot of people do take what they hear and expect it to be, right in that moment or right in that point in time when in fact songs can be recorded months, years, like different spaces. I wrote something down a few years ago,
For
and
sure.
at the time I was drinking coffee, and I went to read it a few days ago, and I'm like, oh, you don't drink coffee anymore. Now you switched up to just the tea. So it's like, you never know. Um, uh, so in that Auntie House performance, that was double back, right? And shout out to Auntie House and Pauly Flex. Shout out to Toledo. Now you said you sat
Yeah,
down for a year.
big shout out to the boys down there.
No, for sure. Your Auntie House performance, double back. You got a lyric in there. It says, "Sat down for a year and kept it solid. Now I'm home again. Right back to the trap. I call my plug like I'm on again." So I've tried to usher in July without cursing. So I'm trying to bleep myself. It's tough. I curse. My curse game was going wild. So I'm like, no, we gotta start clean. Um, uh, but all right. So you sat down. You was locked up for some time.
Correct.
And hang on. And then you came home and went to the trap?
And that when we're up, it was my life. You know what I mean? Now that I done grown up a little bit and kind of seen a lot of different elements of it.
For
And
sure.
as I took my music a lot more serious, I started, I got together with Hef. I got together with a publicist and I sat down and I said, you know what? I'm not trying to do this street music anymore. Not the street style music, but I'm not trying to do the no direction, running around in the streets, just aimlessly on that hustle and put my life at risk. I want to really sit down, meet with the publicist, get with the DJ, get with somebody like F, and take
Yep.
this music seriously. So yeah, in that moment and at that time, that's all I really knew was hustle. So yeah,
I
I
get
kind of
you.
jumped right back into it, but I also pulled myself out of it
Come on.
before I got way back into deep.
I like it. I like it. So I've never been to prison. I don't want to go to prison. I ain't never been to jail. Don't want to go to jail. I'm not about that life. However, and I know I watch a lot of TV and documentaries and things like that. Is the race stuff the real in prison? Like, can you like do whites only be with whites, Latinos with Latinos, blacks with blacks? What was your experience like with regard to that?
So actually to clarify, so when I did my time, I did all county time, which
Okay,
actually is worse than in my opinion, and from what I hear from other people, you actually would rather get sent down the road with more
got you.
access to, TVs, electronic devices, food, more, there's more things. Not that it's comfortable and by any means, whether it's prison or jail, but to be honest, county time is a lot harder in my opinion. You're on where I was, you're on 23-1 lockdowns. There's not a lot of things on the commissary list, not a lot of good food. But as far as like the culture goes, at least in the county, I can't speak on the prison end of it, but I never had no issues. You know what I mean? If you keep yourself and you move respectfully and you're not putting yourself out there in like a crash out type of way, or like you really are looking for attention or looking for a problem, ain't nobody.
Okay, so you were able to politic or befriend whoever you wanted to, regardless of race or cultural background.
Facts, yes.
Oh, okay,
And to mention the county that I ended up doing my time in was a small county close to the area that I grew up in. So to be honest, as unfortunate it is, a lot of the time, like when I was locked up, I knew a lot of the people in the pod anyway. So it was like
okay, right.
it kind of killed the time and made the time a little bit easier, as unfortunate as it was. But yeah, no, I never really had no issues to be honest.
All right, no, beautiful for sure. In the same song, excuse me, in the same song, you say, "I just came home from 75 to life." What was you doing that where you almost got 75 to life? What was going on, man? 75 to life is a serious deal.
Yeah, so to be honest, I'm not gonna touch on too much in specifics, but let's just say I was wrongfully accused for something that I didn't do. So
Gotcha.
I was when I was sitting down, I was in trial. I was fighting a case for some very serious charges, but it was something I didn't even do to begin with. I
Right.
took my time on the chin when I got caught up with some other shit that was mine. But yeah, no, staring down that barrel of a life sentence, bro,
Whew.
is something I can't. I've never been able to fully even. I still haven't even really processed it. That's something I'm gonna carry in my heart for a long period of time. But when you sitting in that courtroom, like I think T Grizzly said in his song, "Have you ever been inside a federal courtroom? Have you
Mm.
ever sat down and fought for your life?" Like
Whew.
it's a different feeling. But coming home, grace of God, everything
Come on.
worked out. Shout out to my lawyers, HMW Law. They're some of the best lawyers in the game, and they really brought out all the bullshit. At the time, the prosecutor and the detective had previously there was a lot of riffraff going on. They had previously had a case on me for some trafficking charges back when I was younger. And they already knew of my music. They knew of me as a person. And to be honest, I think it was a personal vendetta more than it was actually trying to do their job. And people did lose their jobs in the mix of that case.
Whew. Well, thank you for sharing. And one thing that you said, I'm still trying to process. And look, it takes me a long time to process way smaller things. Like I'll process, getting in an argument with somebody at the grocery store 2 weeks ago, and I'm still reflecting on it today. Like, okay, could I have done this better, handled that better, whatever, whatever. So like, giving yourself proper time to process something of that magnitude, I think is huge. And to be honest enough with yourself, okay, you know what, I am gonna, it's gonna take time to process this and to be able to actually do the self work to process it, man. So shout out to you in that regard. Um, one
Yeah, I
of
appreciate it. It ain't been what an easy journey. I'll let you know that. When I first came home, I did. We was just talking about this on the podcast. Actually, I went right out to Puerto Rico. I actually lived out in Puerto Rico for a year.
Wow,
It was kind of me. That was my healing process.
right?
Going away, getting away from everything. I kind of took a break from the music. Wasn't even working on. I was working on music, but I wasn't dropping. I wasn't really promoting. I was really just. I need to sit down. I need to heal because it was an overwhelming thing. And to be honest, I don't know if I'll ever fully heal. I'm the type of person I bottle everything up and put it on the shelf.
No, I get you. I get you. Well, don't do that. Keep releasing in the music if that's what you got to do, because clearly it's working not only for you, but clearly for other people too, based on,
Oh,
the listeners and the viewership and the streams and all the not, we see the numbers. So clearly it's working for other people too.
for
I,
sure.
I listen to a lot of artists that, Davey, Nipsey Hussle, J. Cole, they've been the soundtrack to, certain aspects of my life. And while, I'm not like, like they're not idols, right? But their music, their art has helped me get through certain aspects. So if your situation and your art can do that for somebody else, then come on with it.
For
With
sure. And that's always what I wanted with my music. I always wanted to be able to inspire and be able to motivate, somebody going through a similar situation. That's one thing I took up recently is, even trying to step back even more from some of the super heavy street music that I used to make and make it a little bit more, just telling my story, but not trying to, I'm not telling, I'm telling my story so somebody going through it can heal from it, but I'm not telling you the story so that in terms of trying to influence people to follow that path. It's
Nah, for
more of
sure.
like a guidance tool, like, hey, listen to my story. If you're going through it, maybe take notes on some of the things where I went wrong that you hear in my music me talking about and make the other decision.
Right, you got the blueprint right in front of you. If you listen to the song, you have no reason not to make the right decision. No, for sure. Um,
Exactly. A
what
lot of
that's
people think the streets like is a game or it's fun or it's like something that people want to be in. Like to me growing up, that was just I just happened to be in that culture. I happened to have a father uh, that wasn't in my life, that was in that lifestyle that I chased around, that dragged me into that life. It's if I could go back and do it different, I would have went to college. I would have went, I would have went the right way.
No, for sure. Real quick, because I also peeped the Mockingbird freestyle, and he was talking about your pops, and we're not gonna stay here too long, but like, wow, wow, yeah, that's deep. That's deep. That's real deep, man. Um,
Yeah, that was a hard. To be honest, that was a hard story to share. That was probably one of the most difficult songs for me to record. It was a very emotional process, and it was very, very in detail. So I really that was one of those ones though that as an artist, sometimes you gotta put yourself in that vulnerable spot to be able to help somebody. You know what I mean? To be able to have somebody connect to you.
Because somebody's going to relate to that and they're going to need to hear that at whatever time in their life for whatever reason. And you may have just helped them, saved them, you know what I'm saying? Like, or even just been able to just,
Exactly.
you know,
Exactly. You never know. Maybe somebody was going through a similar situation, but they didn't have the stomach to vocalize it to somebody or put it out there. So if I could step in and vulnerable, put myself in a vulnerable position to maybe express somebody else's story and make somebody feel like they're not the only one. That's what I'm trying to do.
I know for sure, for sure. So Eminem said the N word back in '93 on a freestyle about an ex-black girlfriend of his. How many times you said the N word in your 26 years?
I don't say that word.
You never said it. You never said it once.
Nope,
Come
I
on,
don't say that word.
come on, OTDZ. I'm with it. Come on, salute you.
I'm as cutthroat as it gets, but that's not my lane. It's dabbling.
Come on, I like it. I'm with it. I'm with it. I'm with it. What does it mean to you to be 10 toes down?
To be 10 toes down, just to be, just be solid. It's not. It's a concept that I feel if your morals are you go by respect like mine. I go by respect, honesty, and loyalty. Those are the three main things I care about in life. If you show me respect, you show me honesty, and you show me loyalty, I will be 10 toes down for you forever. I will ride for you. I'll
Come on.
take my shirt off my back for you. But if you disrespect those elements, I'm not a I don't double back on people.
Right.
I don't loop back around. If you break it with me, it's over. It's up. Like I'll keep you at a distance. If I love you, if I have real genuine love for you, I'll love you from a distance, but
Right.
you ain't never gonna get the same version of me that you once had.
No, for sure. Come on. Come on. I like it. Um, what did OTDZ come up on artist wise? Like if you had to give me your top five artists, like from, listening as a kid, and it's of any genre, whoever you listen to the most from, childhood until now, who has been like the soundtrack to your life?
And to put five across a lifespan, man, I feel like I caught different generations. Like I feel like for my current generation, there's a 50-50 split. I have very young parents. My mom was 18 when she had me. My dad was only 16. So I caught that tail end of Eminem, Mobb Deep, Twista,
Come on.
Akon, R. Kelly, early Jeezy, Gucci, Jay-Z, I caught that whole generation. So I'm very thankful for it because a lot of those artists I'm the type of artist that takes in a little bit of everything. I take in little sounds, little flows, little this and that from every artist, and it really helps me become a melting pot of multiple different generations. As I got older, it came into the high school era. I was Mac Miller, we had Wiz Khalifa,
Ah, yeah.
Drake, that era of music, and now as I got more into the grittier parts of my life when I was in the streets and I was hustling, it became into the nowadays artists, the Peasies, the T Grizzlies,
Ah,
those types of artists. So, I've taken a lot of influence and I listen to a lot of music. And even outside of rap, I listen to a lot of different genres. I feel like rappers specifically get stuck thinking, oh, I only listen to rap music. This isn't that. I listen to
right.
some Bob Marley. I listen to
Come
some
on.
reggae music. I listen to some Nickelback. Some things of that nature. Some Linkin Park. I'm very open to music. Because you never know what type of inspiration you might get from something as simple as listening to a different genre of music. You never know what it's gonna bring into your mind.
No, 100%. You never know. I love it. I love it. I love it. Well, look, thank you for your time. We look forward to future releases. The project on the way that you're currently working on. Right now, it's Who Wants Smoke. We've got Who Wants Smoke. I know I haven't made it aware. I don't know if Hef has, but I do advise a campus radio station at University of Findlay. So Hef has sent the record through, and we're going to get it in rotation for sure. And if I or we can be of assistance in any other way, then please do not hesitate to reach out. Before we do tap out of here, for those that might be watching this, on YouTube or whatever platform when it's posted that don't already follow you? Where can they follow you at?
Yeah, you can tap in with me on all platforms at OTDeezy. OTDeezy with two Y's, Instagram, TikTok, Snapchat, Facebook, and then on Spotify, Apple Music, all major streaming platforms, it's just OTDeezy with one Y.
Beautiful. OTDZ, last question. Um, I got a son. His name is Miles. He's 6 years old. And as a young man in 2025 in the current state of the world, what is a piece of advice you would offer to him in living life and being successful in life?
A piece of advice that I would give out, um, to be honest, listen to your parents. That's the biggest piece of advice I would give. If I just listened to my mother in life and I didn't chase around the riffraff and I didn't want to be, try to chase around the cool and the this, like you could be cool without having to be gangster or in the
Sure.
streets. Like go get your degree,
Come on.
go play a sport, go become an athlete, go start a business, go do something that's cool. That's gangster. Like I said before, the street shit, it's not for everybody and it's not something I even wanted to get into. So if for your son, I would say, yeah, listen to your parents and let them guide you. They're not going to guide you the wrong way.
There it is. No, I appreciate that. You know, when you first said it, I felt like you was talking to me because that's something I used to tell myself. Like as I got older, I'm like, man, if you would have just listened when you were supposed to listen, you would have got away or got around this way easier. You would have maneuvered life. So, I love that for sure. As long as people got the right parents too, right? So, so no, OTDZ, thank you
Oh, for
for your
sure.
time. I appreciate you, man. You got a new fan today, in myself. So keep going. And many blessings to you and yours, man.
I appreciate you, man. Big shout out to you as well. I appreciate you. It's all love.
Yes, sir. Y'all be safe on the road. We'll talk soon.
All right, bro. Be safe.
Peace.